Well, hello, welcome back to this week's episode of the My Love of Golf podcast. Thank you for joining us once again. It's our pleasure to be here with you, and we thank you for joining us. Now, firstly, a little bit of housekeeping. Rocket Man, how are you? That doesn't get old. Firstly, how are you? You well?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic.
The theme backgrounds for the Zoom people. Thank you for the several people that watched us on the Zoom video. We'll keep trying to do that. If you keep watching, 7 of you, let's try and get up 10 this week. 10 viewers on the video on the YouTube. Maybe a couple of other followers. That'd be great. But firstly, Rocket, can you sit up in front of the camera so I can see you? Yeah, right. You missed the memo. Obviously, you know, Mike, can you sit up in front of the camera? Can I just see you? Oh, but we're both appropriately dressed in team uniform. What happened?
I don't know. Did you tweet something?
No, I didn't. No. Well, Mike's got the limited edition My Love of Golf podcast T-shirt on. I'm wearing a very limited edition. It's a one of one. It's approaching summer, of course, in Melbourne. Of course, it's hoodie weather still. I've got the one of one My Love of Golf podcast hoodie. If anyone wants a My Love of Golf podcast hoodie and there's an interest in that, we might make that happen. Might have some of tonight's dinner on it. There you go. How are you, Rocket?
Oh, good. I got the one with the black print.
Yeah, you've got the blackout edition.
Black on black.
Are you well?
I'm really good.
How was the feedback after last week's shark attack?
The man who I thought that would probably, I was going to preempt him to say, I hope you listen to this one. I thought, no, I'll leave for a bit of a surprise. He gave me some glowing feedback, so I was very appreciative of that.
Well, it's certainly wherever you listen to or whatever page you turned or screen you scrolled through, it was very topical. There was a lot of debate and conversation about PGL, SGL, whatever GL you call it, and the Sharks dive into Saudi dollars. You covered it off pretty well.
Dive? More than dive.
So
he's like Snowflake. He's doing that, he's doing the starfish in the snow.
Yeah, that's it. Off the Cessnock High Diver, we would have called it a big horsey.
Horsey.
Big horsey.
He's doing bombs in piles of cash.
I think you Victorians called them something else down here, honeypots or something
horsey,
like that.
Horsey.
Horsey, did a horsey? Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. But you've continued with the Zoom background, the shark theme. Is that your creative genius there? Is that your artistic?
No, it's the power of Google. It's fantastic.
So for the people who don't, the 7,993 of you that don't go to the Zoom, that means that it's 7 of you that will. You can see the background. Rocket's got a picture of the shark there. It's from the Sea Cucumber series. The sea cucumber's covered.
Beachcomber.
But he's got some Saudi headdress on and
shark logo on the band.
And the shark logo on the band. That's probably inappropriate and offensive to some people that maybe listen. But anyway, it's from Google and you've got it up there. It's not me, it's you.
The shark is offensive.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. That's exactly the point. Magic, how are you?
Excellent. Very well, thank you.
Okay. You've got a great background there. It's how many more days and counting? How many days and counting before we can legally venture back into Tasmanian shores?
December 15, I think, is the official date. So not too far away, about a month until, we can officially go to Tasmania, unless you're Stuart Kerr and his lovely dad who are down in Barnbougle, but they fly out of South Australia.
Oh, well,
lucky humans.
South Australians and can go straight to Tasmania. G'day to Big Stu and Big Jackie boy. I'm not sure if Big Jack's been down to Barnbougle before, but it looks like a father and son trip that they're off down there, and very jealous. You saw the picture of them out there at the front of the Barnbougle Dunes drive-in. Jack looks more like Stu's brother. He's in ripping nick.
He's in very good nick. I was going to say that, yeah.
Big Jackie boy is in ripping nick. If you want to know who we're talking about, you can go to the Links Diary. Very good friends of the podcast and us of them. And volume 2 of the Links Diary has a wonderful story about Stuart's round at St Andrews, the old course where Eric Anders Lang, previous guest of the podcast too, by the way, surprised Stuart by bringing his dad across for a round at St Andrews, and there's some beautiful pictures there and the story about that episode. But anyway, good day to Stu, good fella, and good day to Big Jack. So back to Tasmania and King Island. You are the mainland representative of King Island, one of their prime industries.
One of many selling cheese. Yes, that's me.
When is there a business trip planned?
I've just put the background up of Wickham. I've been talking about it all day. I've been in about 3 or 4 meetings with my customer, who is I look after one of the 2 big supermarket chains, and we have to get them down there to just see the site because they've not been there. And I said, look, that sounds fine to me. You just let me know when we need to get there. So I think we're talking about Feb. Christmas is too busy, and Jan, no one's around. So hopefully Feb.
I can see why it's really important for the buyers of the big supermarket chains to go down on a business trip.
Well, down prices are down.
No, it's the other one. No, it is important. I mean, because these guys they're a big part of our business, and they are important. But also just to give them a handle on, like, heaps of people make cheese, but not just because I work for the company. King Island is a very special place. Like, people talk about the actual town. The town is 10 shops. There's nothing there except two of the best golf courses in the world, and amazing cheese, amazing cattle. And
don't forget the King Island Hotel. Come on,
King Island Hotel, the Boomerang. It's a very, very it's a great place to immerse yourself in and really get a handle on it, because when we try to do a lot of advertising for the dairy, and I'm not going to go down the whole path of selling cheese here, but it's very big for us to try and get people to get an understanding of the place. And so when we talk to these guys and, sitting in an office in Sydney, it doesn't really do it justice. So no matter what happens, the honest answer is that they probably won't be keen to play golf, but I'll be making sure the trip down will be on a Thursday and Friday, and I'll be hanging around for the weekend. They can all fly back.
It is important that anyone who represents any products and brands, if they can do the full immersion and really get the passion that comes out of the place and out of the product, it's really important. We used to do that at Mercedes-Benz. I was a beneficiary of a number of trips to Germany.
Just think of some of those cheeses that could be melted over just a nice, barbecued cray.
Yeah, they make a beautiful one of our white mold cheese, one of the bries they make with it's the crayfish from the island they catch there. In the pies in the local bakery makes a brie and crayfish pie, which is supposed to be exceptional.
Relative to the off-topic, on-topic conversation, because we've gone straight off the unplanned script. There is no script.
No, we're on script.
It is exactly. This is. But relative to last week's hot topic, my sun-kissed legs from the last 3 years could actually be 4 years. It was a couple of years ago that I was down there at King Island in a January. It was a hot January. And it may have been the last time that my legs saw sun, on that very picture that you have in your background there. And probably the reason why they didn't see sun since, because I got absolutely fried. Straight off the Air Adventures, what plane did we fly? No, we didn't actually fly on that plane, Mike, because I did Pilatus PC-12. Yeah. No, we went on the Outback jet. They didn't have the Pilatus PC-12 then.
What was the Outback jet? What did you fly on?
It's the twin prop, pressurized job that you go over Air Adventure over the weather and not through the weather. So it flies at all times and all altitudes up there with the big ones. But it's just the underwing, that sort of kind of thing. Yeah. Twin turbo prop. Straight off the plane, straight into the bus, straight out to Cape Wickham, straight into Sunburn Central.
That's the only way to go.
The UV in the southern state and around the southern state is very underrated.
Okay.
There you go.
It may be cooler, but
It'll
It's got some bite.
Yeah.
I mentioned in the opening that we have some listener questions. A few, it was just a last minute thing. I was sitting on Mornington Main Street buying tonight's winning Tats Lotto ticket. And I was waiting for Mrs. My Love of Golf to go to the bank to get some change because in Mount Eliza, where we live, they've shut the bank. So I've now got to go to Mount Mornington and get that. I was there, just buying the ticket and put a thing out, asked some questions. And there was actually some questions related to King Island and your role as the mainland ambassador to King Island and King Island Golf. If you are from
I look forward to hearing who these are from. If
you are from Visit Tasmania and you want us to go down there, you can get this sort of coverage pretty easily. We're happy to come. We'll ask the questions later. What's happened this week in golf, Rocket? You got your finger on the pulse?
Oh yeah, Slugger White, the PGA Tour official, has joined the Saudi Golf League. Quite appropriate, really, because he never enforced any rules or anything like that with on the PGA Tour. So he fit right in. He's going to fit right in. They're going to be able to get away with all sorts of murder.
Slugger White, you quite often he'd pop up on the telecasts. They'd refer to him as Slugger White. Obviously, I don't know what his real name is, but so what are you saying about old Slugs?
He doesn't enforce the rules. He's let Patrick Reed off a few times, made excuses for him, almost overruled one of the officials with the whole Matt Kuchar thing. He's not an enforcer.
So do you think that that's why they've hand-selected Slugger White?
Why not? He's going to be perfect for the players. Any player that goes, do you know what, I can bend the rules a little bit and make some cash. It's just on theme. It's right on theme.
Any updates on who might be other likely starters for this swing that goes through Asia and whatnot?
Phil.
Right. Anyone else?
Phil will be in, right?
Yeah.
Phil will be in. I reckon someone like Jason Kokrak will be because he's a Saudi golf ambassador. And then it'll be, will you get someone like Westy?
Right. But no one knew since last week sort of come out.
No, because no one's gonna attach themselves to that. So what you're gonna have is a lot of these. It's going to be a bunch of players that are just going to go, do you know what? The chance of me late in my career making an absolute just couple of house loads full of cash for just playing some tournaments, why not? All right? If all of a sudden they go, I will sign on for 3 years as a face, so basically trade in their name and any shred of legacy that they have left for 30, 40, $50 million almost like guaranteed, they're going to do it. Right? There'll be those ones that'll do that, right? They're just going to go, do you know what? I don't care about my legacy. I'm just going to make a heap of cash and ride off in the sunset. And then because they're doing it, align it with the Asian tour. So then what you're going to do is you're going to have them pumping up actual tour events there. So all of a sudden you think of the money that's going to go in there, that might attract others, but then you're already funding an actual existing tour, which has been underinvested globally. It's kind of, you think about how all the other tours are treated when it comes to the PGA Tour, then the European Tour, which the European Tour actually becoming a bit more sort of global. So the Asian Tour are going to go, geez, like $200 million over the next 10 years. Who's going to knock that back? And also there's a lot of countries in and around Asia that are questionable. So they're lined right up with some of the foundational cultural themes that exist with Saudi. But the thing is, it's almost like going to be in stealth. It's not like you're going to have a heap of players going there. It's going to be one of those things where it's over time. It's just going to be almost like accepted. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's like they're just going to keep slowly clicking their fingers until it's just white noise, and then you'll just forget who they are. They're going to play the long game. They will play the long game, and they won't get these top tier players now, but you might get a heap of younger ones. What you think about? What about you've got a top young kid who's just come out of college? So imagine if you have almost like Morikawa, Wolf, Hovland come out again, and they have to go through the ringer to try and get on tour, and then they might end up being on the Corn Ferry, where all of a sudden they go, Asia Tour funded by Saudi go, hey, why don't you come over here? You're actually going to get more world ranking points, so you can come over here in these weaker fields. We'll guarantee you X amount of money, and you're going to fast track yourself into the top 50 in the world. It's like the Brooks Koepka model. Go to Europe, build up your ranking, go back over into the US, etc. Why not play on the weaker fields in Asia, make a heap of cash, rather than go and play the toil it out in the Corn Ferry, trying to make it into the big time.
Do we think that we'll see some Australians up there? Yeah, that have tried to get onto the Asian Tour and all that sort of thing.
Yep.
That want to get on the Asian Tour.
Yep.
It just depends. I mean, at the end of the day, it'll depend on the people that are paying the money on where they see value. They're not going to pay someone they're not going to shell out big money for someone to come and play who's not a no name, but middle of the road player.
No, but the thing is, though, now the Asian Tour will actually become a destination, because they're going to be playing for big purses.
Yeah.
So do you toil away on the Asian Tour for big money and better points in weaker fields? The fields that are probably weaker than what's on the Corn Ferry Tour.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So do you go down that path? Because then you could slug it out for a year or two there, get your world ranking point up into 50. So all of a sudden you're into all the WGCs and all these other things. Because you think because it's not Saudi having their own, they're going to have these tournaments, but they're going to be tied to events. So they're going to make it really hard to ban people because it's an Asian Tour event. It's a good strategy. It's very smart. Yeah,
be interesting. I mean, with the money coming into the European Tour this week, that obviously gives them a lot more strength, and bigger. They'll have bigger funds for each week to play for. So that definitely helps them. I don't know. So
that I saw that, and I didn't do any follow up. So is that official?
Yep.
So DP World
Tour.
Yep.
For how long?
10 years, I think. It
was
a long time. Yeah, it wasn't like a year. It's a long time.
How many shekels?
The purses were looking back to normal from the ones that what they put up. I can't give you the exact numbers.
So they would have had like a 20 events or something like that.
Yeah, 200 million a year sort of thing. The Rolex events get expanded. The prize money goes back up to what it was pre-COVID time when they had to bring some of it back down. It's a long-term commitment. Don't quote me if it's 10 years, but it's a long-term DP World Tour, and that's their combat. So is that the city of Dubai coming back at this Saudi influence? Is that this sort of power brokering of the region?
DP World, it's the shipping containers versus the freighter planes.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't see it, but yeah, I
Did anyone get that?
Shipping containers versus
the freighter planes.
Well, DP World, own a lot of the ports around the world. Many
FedEx,
gotcha.
They use planes.
Yeah.
Shipping containers versus the plane.
Well, I mean, the funniest part about it was the first person I saw quoted on the new money was Dingo from the PGA Tour, because he sits on the board of the European Tour now with the new amalgamated piece. So it was like,
consolidated shipping cup.
Yeah, and it's
we should call that little series with they've got the co-sanctioned stuff. We should call it the consolidated integrated supply chain cup or something like that.
Supply chain cup, I like. But they put out the new calendar, and it's pretty stacked. I mean, no Aussie tournaments on there, so there was no Vic Open. So I don't know what's happening there, because the Aussie PGA put out the schedule and said there was still more announcements to come. But now the Euros have come out with the new tour, and it's not on there. So I don't know what this announcement's going to be.
Yeah, so I reckon the whole Vic Open thing would have got probably lost its... either lost its status temporarily because of everything that's been going on, or it potentially could lose its status permanently because of everything that's been going on.
There is one gap on the schedule for the Euro Tour. I did see it says Asian Tour event, but it doesn't say where. Now, whether that classifies as the Vic Open could fall into the Asian Tour, don't know.
When was that? I just got to get I just got to pencil it in my calendar for my Pro-Am appearance.
It was the week after the Masters was the gap, I think it was. Somewhere
Okay.
around there, which is a perfect time for golf in Australia.
That works for me.
People really want to get on a flight and come to Australia right after the Masters.
Just reminding everyone, there's been a few Pro-Am appearances and those players have gone on to win.
Hey, didn't you play with Minwoo?
I think I did. But also my all-time favourite, George, 10 years on tour, no wins, comes up with me, gets a little bit of I get a short game lesson from him. He gets a lesson in conversation, the art of conversation from me, because it wasn't coming that way. I asked him for a chipping lesson. He goes on and wins the European Tour. There you go. George Jorge Campillo. The best. Outside of Robbie Rock, he's the second best hair on tour.
Ooh.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Anyway, speaking of European Tour, there was an event last week. What was it, the Portugal Masters?
There was, yeah.
How did we go? We were sort of close. We were there or thereabouts. I don't think we had a winner, but
we went okay. It was probably the week where the bits and pieces that I saw and the data sort of backs it up a little bit. Old mate Thomas Peters found his putter for a week, so that does it.
It wasn't over his knee.
He's definitely got form there.
We've talked about it before with players. It's just, you got to find the trend of the person's weakness. And once it sort of gets an upward swing, find him, because he's always been notoriously poor putter, and he had a good week with the putter. And that's all he needs. Yeah,
he was just not snapping as many clubs. So it was like, I should have jumped on him.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, he's one of those players that him and his stablemate Detry that I just don't normally bet, because they both have that bad habit of disappearing on a final round. But he didn't do it, which was good.
Well, Tommy Peters disappeared for a while, hasn't he? He's been. I don't know what his OWGR is, but he's been away.
It's been a couple of years since his last win.
Yeah.
About 2.
Yeah.
But we were close. Minwoo top 10. Well done to Minwoo.
His first 36 holes was just not sufficient enough. I was very disappointed.
A couple of other people that we've been talking about. Horsefield. We had a little bit of a chat about Sam Horsefield.
Again, what we said last week was he wasn't as poor as he has been in the final round, but of the guys that played towards the pointy end in the final round, he's one of 2 players in the top 12 that didn't break par. Yeah, and he's finished even. Yeah, he's 9 behind the leader, but you can't do that. You can't
even if he shoots even just 4 under, which is almost looks like the average for probably the top other 20 players. Yep. He finishes tied for 3rd.
Yep.
No, 4th.
Yep.
Because there's 5th actually, because there's thing.
But that's a big difference in.
Could be a couple $100,000 in money.
5th is
points.
55k euro, and instead he got 22.
Yeah.
We always have a bit of a jokey sort of thing about the top Scot, and Bobby McIntyre always gets mentioned, but I usually end up deferring to sort of someone else. That someone else has recently been Grant Forrest, who was definitely the top Scot, and didn't look like getting dethroned from that position this week. -8, -1 in the last round. But I guess more importantly is what is happening with Bobby Mack. Like he's shot +11 on the last round to finish +12.
Well, I can tell you he's cleared his mind of it, because I was watching the Euro Tour just before we started recording, and he was early days and he's out in the afternoon, and he had an eagle putt from about 20 feet, and I still don't know how it didn't go in, and I'm sure he still doesn't know how it didn't go in. So he tapped in his birdie, but he was travelling along pretty well today.
Okay, well, Bobby, we're with you, mate. We're with you.
I think it's the weight of expectation now. And that's it.
So we should drop off him. We should let him.
No, he needs to actually become accustomed to the weight of expectation, because you're playing at a certain level and you're getting to certain, you're on the brink of making into the Ryder Cup, and you didn't quite get it done in that last month or so. Your form dropped off completely. So the weight of expectation, he hasn't been able to quite.
We've just had here he is. Rocket's back. The weight of Rocket. You just pick up where you went blank there. The weight of expectation.
Oh, my internet connection is unstable. The weight of expectation, and he hasn't been able to elevate up to the next level.
Yep.
Okay.
The data says it's the putter. Is what the data says. That everything else around strokes gained wise, he's sitting bang on tour average, but the putter has dropped away in the last since start of the year. That's the one piece he needs to get right.
Well, you can't win tournaments not putting well. You played some golf on the weekend, Mike. How was your putting?
I putted a lot. That's not necessarily good. I had this is from last week, Sandy. So we didn't talk about my fantastic round, but I had 31 points, which was okay for a person who had 42 putts. I did everything I wanted to do. Those greens, as you know, as we spoke about last week at Sandringham, there's a few holes where you need to know where to land the ball on the green so you don't put yourself in a poor position. And I put myself in all the great spots, but just couldn't get my lag putting right and didn't make anything. So it was very, very poor.
Yeah, you're not going to win many balls or dollars or whatever you play for when you play in the club comp or social comp or whatever. You're not going to, having 42 putts. You're not going to do. I went through that period of my golfing career having 40 putts, 38 putts. Thinking, when I got to 36 putts, I thought, wow, I'm back. And then I did some research and realised that most of the people around me were having 29 putts. Yeah, 30 putts.
That's it.
It's like 6 shots. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So practice putting.
That's it.
Of course, if practicing your putting means getting a new putter, of course, there's only one destination to go to for all putter choices in Australia. That's Australia's biggest drum and golf, of course, where you can get all the biggest brands from Tour Edge Exotics, Scotty Cameron, Cleveland putters are great, Wilson putters are great, Ping, TaylorMade, Odyssey putters. You can get them all down there. We might be seeing you down there. Might have to book you in for a putter fitting, Mike. Is that what we're hearing?
Yeah, I'd like to see what a putter fitting can do with my putting stance and grip and everything else. It'd be very interesting. The machine might just pack up and give it away.
We'll make a day of it.
I'll level with my chin on that one. I'm saying, would you like a putter fitting? Try to fit in the supporters read in there, and I'm thinking, hold on, you putt side saddle.
Side saddle with a foregrip.
I'm not sure if the putting green's wide enough to you have to stand on the lower part of it and putt on the upper part. I don't think we'll have to get a little stool.
No, at least he putts within the law.
That's it.
Okay.
No, it'll be fine. I've got the very nice TaylorMade putter, but I will come and have a look at some putters when I come down and look at some new irons.
You ever tried arm lock?
No. When I say I haven't tried it for about 2 seconds, it's like left-hand low. As soon as I sort of try it for about 3 seconds, I'm like, nah, can't do this. Doesn't feel natural.
With your sort of side stance putt, little stroke, did you have to change any of the specs of your putter? Do you have to get the line angle adjusted or anything like that?
Never done it. To be honest, I started putting that way, and the people that see it and know a bit about golf ask if I do it because Sergio started doing it. But I actually started doing it when Chris DeMarco started doing it. I've been doing it for 20 years. So it's a very long time. So I've never gone and got anything, any line angles changed. I probably just, if anything, alter my hands for the way that the sole of the club sits on the ground, but that's about it.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm prone to just sort of clipping the heel a little bit, but that's all.
Well, I maintain that I thought you were a great putter the 2 or 3 times the 96 holes that we played, and then the time we played before that, I thought your putting was okay, but it's obviously gone a little bit off. One of the greatest putters.
It's a bad day. It's a bad day. It will all come back tomorrow.
One of the greatest putters we've ever seen in the Peninsula District. When I was a member at Mornington playing Peninsula District pennant, and I forget the team that he played for. It might have been Rosebud, I think. Chap by the name of Paul Lulofs. And like we were all sort of mid-30s. There was a couple of younger fellas, and maybe the more senior guys might have been late 30s. Paul Lulofs must have been in his 70s, and he was one of those guys that played pennant for 1,000 years. We had one at Mornington in the other team, Mike Iceman Iredale. Well, this team had Paul Lulofs, and he was a side saddle putter, and I just remember watching him going, hey, you can't do that. But obviously, and he just rolled the dots off the thing. So didn't cost us a final, but he was sensational. Okay. Side saddle.
There's always that one older player in pennant somewhere that just puts the eyes out of everything, and it's everything he looks at, just holds it, and you just go, I don't understand. And they kind of almost don't even line stuff up. They just stand over it and just hit it.
Well, that was Paul Lulofs. I don't think he's with us anymore, but he was a great player. Okay. In Europe, so we've got the Golf in Dubai Championship this week. Is that right?
Yeah, they're in the UAE. They teed off early. I mean, I would assume they might be off early just for the actual the weather might be better to be out a bit earlier. But yeah, they're deep into the second half of the field now, and they're flying. No one's playing badly. Leader is Joachim Hansen. He's gone 9 under in round 1. But even at the other end of the field, there's only a handful of guys over par. There'd only be 20 guys that are shooting over par over a field of 120. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty low number this week to win.
Reasonable field. A lot of Scots, a lot of Englishmen, and a lot of Spaniards in there.
Yep.
Well, and isn't this one of the last events leading up to the race to Dubai thingy?
It can't be far away.
I think race to Dubai is next week or the week after. Yeah.
DP World Tour Championship. They've already renamed it.
So Minwoo's there, Casey, Fleetwood, Migliozzi, Wiesberger, Scrivener's there, Bobby Mack, Thomas Detry, Justin Harding, Johannes Veerman, Cabrera Bello. Then starting to get a bit light after that, Victor Perez.
Paul Casey.
Yeah.
Someone asked me to do more accents, by the way, off the back of Andy Johnson. You know what? I might say I didn't sleep, but I felt bad after that doing, that little quip of Andy Johnson when you said, leave his voice alone. And we only ever speak glowingly of the Fried Egg podcast. It's an absolute source of reference material for all good reasons. And I just see it as a sign of flattery, and it's...
A lot of people do not...
Yeah, I know.
They people that I've introduced into early Fried Egg before they were doing Shotgun Start, a lot of them are like, I can't stand his voice. I'm like, forget about his voice. Listen to what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Andy Johnson. I love his voice, but it's obviously unique.
It is. It's very unique.
And if you're like me that grew up with speaking another accent, has another language, it's just the thing that I do. And sometimes I've got to stop myself and go, you're not a comedian. So, you can only get away with that stuff if you are a comedian. So I felt bad after you pulled me up on it, Rocker. And I nearly edited it out, but I didn't. And Darren Zakharov said, thanks for the world's worst/best Andy Johnson impersonation.
I saw someone not long ago, it was only in the last month, someone commented either on his podcast or on Twitter somewhere and said, I hope something about a nasal spray could sponsor this podcast or something like that. And he just ran underneath it. Yeah, that'd be great. Maybe it'll fix my voice. I'm just laughing.
He definitely does not shy away from using himself on the butt of any joke.
So I'm figuring if we had Andy Johnson on the line, he wouldn't actually mind. So that's why I left it in there.
No, he would laugh.
He's very clever. Anyway, some of in their emails every week. If you don't subscribe to, we're going to Fried Egg emailing list. Get that, because even the little nuances in the headlines of these articles. This week was something to do with DP World taking over the European Tour, and just the reference to DP. And if you know what that means, you know what it means. But that's what he was referencing. It was quite funny.
We'll call it his little I've taken inspiration from how do you just turn stuff into just these words or phrases. So, there are ones where I steal them from him, or I co-opt them, or I put a twist on them, or there's ones where I just get inspired by him and I just make them up myself.
Oh, they're just part of the vernacular now, though. Some of the things he talks about, some of the names he's given things, I don't even realize that they're his, and I'm using them because I've heard them 20 different places.
But like Rory, BFB,
I've not heard that.
Boy from Bratislava.
Oh yeah, sorry. Every time you say Rory, I don't think of that Rory. I think of the other Rory.
It's like last year he got excited because they used it actually on one of the it was like an NBC telecast.
Yeah,
they were going, the boy, Rory Sabatini, coming up the leaderboard, the boy from Bratislava, and he's like, yes. It was used in a PGA Tour article as well, and he's like, "Oh, we must have a shotgunner." So obviously they're the people that follow the shotgun. He goes, "We must have a shotgunner inside the whatever, like across the moat." I think they referred to it as across the moat inside the Ponte Vedra.
Because hasn't he been like black banned by the PGA media or all that sort of thing? Like,
no, he did a couple of years ago, but I think they realised that they needed him on side.
Right. Okay. Who are we going for this week in Europe? Back to what we were talking about before we went off track.
Well, I hadn't looked at it, to be honest. If I'd probably thought about it, I would have probably gone with Min Woo again. He started okay. He's 5 under. Can't argue with that. It's a solid start. He's 8th. Scribs 5 under.
It's good Minwoo weather too, because it'd be nice and dry, not a lot of wind.
Yeah, no, it looked very pleasant where they're playing, and it wasn't too windy.
No, I might land on him and
he'll probably win. Yeah.
All right. So it looks like it's a battle for Bobby Mack and Grant Forrest again for top Scott. Grant Forrest is currently, as we record, -3. So they're level pegging. So no one's got an advantage thus far. Bobby Mack's played 11 holes. Grant Forrest has finished. So maybe Bobby Mack does have the advantage. Who are we going there for top Scott?
I'm going to go with Grant Forrest again.
Okay. I'll back you there. The craggy little kid. Okay. You want to pick an outright winner? You're going to go Min Woo. Rocker, have you got the account open? Okay.
No, I can't be bothered calling.
No, it's already started.
And his odds would be too short now.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Now, let's go to some of our questions. We can come back to the States in a sec. Let's go to some of the questions that we've got here. Are you guys ready for this? Because more Rocket, you can contribute, but Mike's copped a little bit of heat here from his fans. So he's going to be responsible for.
It's what happens when you share these things on socials. People start coming back at you. That's why, Rocket, it's very handy that you did not do that.
See? There's a very good valid reason why I'm not peering into the cesspool.
I did say if anyone wants any about equipment. So there's a very simple one that I can answer on the back of my video today that I posted on the Mile of Golf Instagram. Had a great round of golf at St Andrews Beach yesterday with a couple of one fellow podcaster and 2 friends of the podcast. Blakey from Golf Rules Questions, had a round with him. Phil, who is the one of the main men down there at St Andrews Beach, from bogeys to birdies, and Ben Flavel, or you can get him at it's actually his name in reverse at Level FNEB. That's his Instagram. I love that, Level FNEB. And it took me about 6 months to realize, oh, that's your name back to front. But anyway, Level FNEB. Ben was there. Put a video up of me showing the boys how to hit
like pace car in reverse.
Yeah. How to hit a knockdown driver up the last, because I jokingly quipped that I'd been hitting hellacious seed 9 feet draws all day, and I got sick of that. So I just showed them how to hit a knockdown left to righter up the last. On the back of that video, Mike Litwin, who is in Edinburgh, married to a good Australian girl from Newcastle. Have met Mike, but he's a heart supporter over there in Edinburgh. He's asked, what driver setup are you running just now? Race car in reverse. There you go. What driver setup are you running just now? You obviously saw the bombs being hit. It is a TSI 3. My driver is a TSI 3 Titleist. It's a 9 degree, set at 9 degrees. For those of you that want to know a little bit more about the TSI 3, it's the slightly smaller head, taller face, pear shape. That really went back to that classic Titleist shape. I went away from Titleist drivers for a number of years, and we'll talk more about drivers in a second because it's another question. But this one caught my eye. I did some testing. It's a very, very, very good driver. It's got this ATX metal face, a lot of ball speed, good-looking driver. It's got the removable CG port at the back, mic. I've got the cog set fairly and squarely in the middle, so it's very neutral. It has a hazardous smoke RDX shaft. That's a standard shaft in the Titleist profile. It is one of the best shafts I've used. I've used hazardous black shaft in the past. It was probably a little bit boardy for me, too stiff. But this hazardous black RDX smoke, really, really good. It's a 6.5, 60 grams. So 60 grams a little lighter, but 6.5 is a little stiffer. So I like the light, but I like the stiffness. So that's what I use to hit those probably 10 out of 12 fairways, maybe 9-yard draws, and then just a little stinger up the last there. Really good driver. That's one question. The next question, a little bit more serious, and one that we can all contribute to, from Persimmon and Steel. Now, Persimmon and Steel is one of the guys that follow us, one of the accounts that follow us, pretty much on the back of our Old Salty interview. If you haven't listened to the Old Salty interview, it's probably the most popular episode this year. Great guys over there in Ballina and Copenhagen. We got to see the behind the scenes of who Old Salty is. Well, they've asked us to digest our favourite drivers from each decade. Now, I don't know how many decades we want to or can go back, but, Rocket, as who's older out of you two? I'm obviously the oldest, yes. I'm the old CD. You two? Who's next?
No idea. I'm 44.
Oh, I'm next.
It's okay. Rocket, you're next. So, go back to your earliest memories of your early drivers, and what decade is it, and what was it?
The one I had or one I wanted?
Whatever. What's your favorite? What's the question is? Favorite drivers from each decade.
The favorite one I ever had, and I ended up buying it on eBay again, although it wasn't the 10.5, was the TaylorMade Burner Plus 10.5 with the old, I can't remember the name of the shaft in it, had the black and the grey, the TaylorMade, it was made by Aldilla.
Okay.
And it's the best driver I've ever had.
That was the Burner Plus.
Burner Plus.
Yeah, so I had the Burner 7 degrees, got it in Palm Springs in 1987 from, it was a Mack O'Grady club. 7 degrees loft, thought I could hit it, absolutely can't. It was gifted to me. So the Burner Plus was like the bigger head of that type of, with the little dimple patterns around the side. So I had that was the second metal driver I had, the Burner, which I got in 87. I actually had the first top flight Spalding Cannon steel metal driver in Cessnock. I think we've spoken about this before, but it was gifted to my dad. Maybe it was a swap, maybe several bottles of wine, and a driver and a dozen PGF Optimas or something like that came the other way. I had the Spalding Top Flight Cannon, had that for a while. That was the first metal driver that we had seen in the town. But before that, my drivers that I owned were just laminated. I think maybe had a PGF. What did I have? I can't remember. It was like a PGF something or other, but it wasn't until I got that Top Flight Cannon that drivers started to be a thing. And then after that, I actually went back to a Persimmon, and I had a Persimmon Cobra, which we've spoken about, the Cobra Persimmon driver and 3-wood block. And to me, still the best Persimmons I ever saw that shape were that. Now, that might get a little bit of conjecture going amongst the Persimmon fans out there, because what were the other favourite Persimmons, Rocket?
I had a Wilson Staff deep face.
Mm-hmm.
The one I wished I could have got, but here in Tasmania, so it's very hard to find, is the McGregor. I can't remember the letter before it. The 85 M85, I think it is,
mm-hmm.
which was very popular.
Yeah, McGregor.
Yeah, I had the Wilson Staff deep face, which was as close to the McGregor one as humanly possible. I love that thing to death.
So we've done the 80s, early 90s. Mike, what about you?
I started playing golf late. So I started playing when I was about 23. So that's 20 years ago. Or just over 20 years ago, I want to say I started playing. And the first proper driver that I had, and I still have the full set of irons, the DCI 990 irons sitting in the other room in a black Titleist DCI staff bag, was a Titleist 975D driver with the EI70 shaft.
Oh, yeah.
And I've still got the 3-wood and 5-wood. Then the 5-wood is mint. Like it is
975D, probably one of the best drivers ever made on the planet.
Well, it's the only thing of the full set that I don't have anymore, because I sold it to a mate because I was upgrading drivers, and it was only, he lives in Hong Kong now, young Josh, and I messaged him only a few months ago and said, mate, where is that driver? He said, I was at Mum's place. He said, you want it? It's yours. I said, I'll swap you for a bottle of wine. So I'm going to get it back and put the set back, get the band back together. But I still take the 5-wood out. The 5-wood out's an 18.5 degree little metal wood, and I take that out in my little half set sometimes on a Sunday. And when I catch it, it takes off like a flare, and the sound is so nice.
The head's about that big.
It's so small. It's tiny.
So imagine this. I had the 975D, and then I kind of put the clubs in the wardrobe for about 7 so years.
Really?
And I only came out every now and then because people found out that what I used to play off.
Yeah.
So I get roped into corporate days.
Yep.
Because I wasn't a member at a club or anything that wasn't really playing.
Yep.
But I was able to sort of just pick it up.
Yeah.
And then play all right. Short game was terrible. So I would do that for nearly 10 years. And then one of my mates was playing Riversdale Cup, and I went and caddied for him in one of the rounds. And he just had the TaylorMade R9s, I think it was, R9S, I think it was.
Yep.
And he pulled the head cover. I pulled the head cover off, and I'm like, what's that? And he goes, what do you mean? And he's like a biggest golf nerd on the planet.
Yeah.
And he was working at Drummond in Tassie. Going, what is that? And he goes, that's what they're all like now. And I'm like, are you serious? He goes, what have you got? And I said, 97D. And he goes, dude, what are you doing? Do you have any idea how much distance you've just given up?
Yeah.
He said, you have to go and change. So I instantly, I just like went to the nearest Drummond, went in there, bought it. And I was playing a event, corporate event, and it was up on Queensland, and we were playing at Sanctuary Cove. And I remember the 9th, it was like this par 5, and I kind of warmed up by that stage. And it's a really long par 5. It's like 530 meters or something like that. And I thought, and there's a little bit of a tailwind, and I've just ripped it. And I was like, I've hit it. And I'm like, I've never seen a ball just fly like that ever in my life. I've had to yell forward to the group in front. I had long drive by like about 40 that day.
So, question on the Titleist driver. I've got a Titleist TaylorMade story. This is my 975J. So remind me, what was the difference between 975D and 975J?
Don't know what the J and the D difference was, but I knew.
Couple of years.
I reckon they were right around the same time. But there was a yellow shaft in this, and that one was the stock shaft. That one there, I think.
Yeah, this is the Titleist Ultralight 60 SX Flex.
Yeah. Then they had the yellow and purple shaft, and then they had the EI70 stiff shaft, I think. And because a mate of mine had the J, but I had the D, but they were right around the same sort of time. But I did the same as you, Rocket. I upgraded to a TaylorMade driver, and it was the R510.
Yeah.
It was like the first one that had the trampoline face that they basically eventually said, no, you can't use those in comp. It's and I remember
they weren't the prettiest things either.
No, it was a big block. But a mate of mine's dad, one day when I pulled it out, we drove out to Woodend, a good country course, at 6 o'clock in the morning one day, and I pulled it out on one of longer holes. He nearly fell over laughing. The biggest club he's ever seen. He's like, what are you going to do with that? 2 years later, everyone had the same size clubs.
So my first memories 20 years ago when I first moved to Melbourne, and I found I came across the golf shop, ironically, which I now am a owner of. This bizarre sort of way of looking at it, but I remember seeing this 975J and the R series TaylorMade drivers, and I wasn't playing golf then, but I thought I've missed out on this. I've missed out on a whole heap of time, and it was basically those drivers and hitting them and feeling how good they were to hit compared to the Cobra that I'd last hit maybe 5 years before that. That got me back to golf. But I got the R540,
yep,
and then I got then they brought out the R540 XD, and I sort of bypassed that, went to the R510. I coveted that R510 TP, and I just found that a little bit too hard to hit, but it was an absolute rocket ship, as you suggest. The next one after that was the R7.
Yeah.
Now, the R7 was the first one with the movable weights. They had the weight in the heel toe and then the two rear CG weights. I bought that and had it for a week and ended up at a MGA at and the TaylorMade guy was there, whoever that was at the time. He said, "Oh, you just bought the R7." I went, yeah. Watch me hit these bombs. Thanks very much for coming. And he said, "Oh, you should try this, the R7 TP." And like literally, I'd had the driver for a week, and then I was straight back down to Drummer Golf Frankston, and got the R75 TP. Now, if people want to know, like I obviously talk to people all day about golf clubs, and they go, "Oh, yeah, how come this Titleist or these Pings or whatever it is, they're really expensive? $700-800. That R7 TP was $1,000 driver, and that is 2002, 2000, yeah."
I reckon the Titleist that I bought, funnily enough, at Drummond in the city, from young Andy, who was the South African who was there back then, selling houses now in the western suburbs of Melbourne, is Andy. He sold me those, and I want to say that the driver was about $1,200. That Titleist 975D, it was very expensive.
For those that are watching the video, that was me just getting my clubs, the vintage clubs off the wall with the McGregor VIP tawnies there, and the Pings in Long Wedge, the PT13 Titleist mini rocket ship. It's like your 5-wood, Mike, the little small headed 3-wood. And there you go. I'm just going to put them down. Okay. If we keep rattling on, we won't get through the rest of the questions. Next question. Okie dokie. Andrew Kirkland. Andrew Kirkland is a fine man from over your way, Mike, over Willie Way. He was interested to know why we think that there's not enough provisions for junior golfers at golf clubs these days. And I made me think, and I don't think I've got the fullest answer, and I wouldn't mind doing some more research on it. And I think back to, as we've spoke, my time growing up at Cessnock and John Linnetson, and putting the junior little section on every Sunday, 50, 60 juniors all playing for Rockets, Hot Dots, and, fake glass, fake crystal goblets that we had to give to our mums and dads as prizes. And now I wonder what exists like that. I don't think there's 9-hole comps at my course on a Sunday morning for a group of juniors, maybe not even Mornington. I've asked Mike Ferroni to come back, and I know that there's clubs that have junior clinics and there's all of that sort of stuff. But, for me, it was different back then. It was like a little junior comp. We went off, we played, we marked each other's cards, we scored, stable stroke or stable. We had handicaps, we had junior handicaps, and away we went. I'm not sure what it's like now, but basically Andrew's influence was that, the kids, the young ones that get to that 12, 13, 14, 15 that can play golf, show some potential, have a GA handicap of 18, 19, they sort of either get lumped in with the men, or there's nothing for them specifically where they can hang out with, kids of the same age. And I don't know, I'm not as close to it, but if you are, I'd love to hear from you. And if you've got any thoughts, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't look, obviously not. I'm not a member of a club that I sort of see every week. I know that there's a lot of clubs getting smarter about the way they do their memberships, and giving, obviously, juniors at a different level, but even just for younger people to get involved and become members, they're doing discounted rates and things like that. But not sure about the juniors.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do some more research on that, but Rocket, you were going to say?
Well, more clubs now are doing more programs because so here's the problem. Is a generational problem. Is that the reason they're struggling now is because this is the price you pay for being stuffy old bastards for multiple decades. And, you know, the club that I started at, you know, there were some members there that were just stuffy old bastards. It's as simple as that. And they actually feel like it's their right, and you know they have their hard week of doing work and whatever, and they come out to the course, and it's almost like they, you know, a kid is there and probably just doing what kids do, and they're like, oh, you know, get out of the way, young fella. Oh, I'm just trying to. It's my only day. I can relax and do whatever, you know, and that's it. And that actually, they probably drive more kids away from enjoying golf because they're not being embraced by elder statesmen at their clubs. And then here's the problem: is that for every one or two that you lose, or you lose at a certain age, you know, it's because there are some. I've seen some driven out a little bit later, you know, in their early 20s or late teens and stuff like that. So all of a sudden, when that person might stop playing golf because it's not enjoyable for them anymore. So all of a sudden, you lose one there. So then, you know, when their kids, they eventually might have a family and have kids, they're not going to be entrenched already playing golf, and they might just fall into it again later on in life. So all of a sudden, you've actually skipped a generation, or you skipped two generations. So that's why clubs have problems with memberships now, because of old crusty bastards. That's the only way. That's the only way I can put it. That is why clubs have membership problems. It's because they do that, and then they don't put programs around it to support the juniors and build up their membership and breathe life back into the club. Because I remember when I was just lucky enough that there were enough. Even though I was in a small town, I was lucky enough that there were 4 or 5 others that were older than me, and we were just like-minded, and we kind of didn't care what some of the older members thought. We just went and did our thing and just had fun.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Once again, throwing back to our early days, and there was soccer on Saturdays and rugby league on Sundays, and there was golf for us that didn't play rugby league. I think about now, and I certainly see lots of juniors, you know, younger members at Peninsula Kingswood, but they all seem to be fairly like moving towards that elite level. And I just wonder, you know, that's like the top edge, but there doesn't seem to be that groupings of younger ones that are 20 handicappers and 25 handicappers. And I wonder if they do feel uncomfortable if they see the elite, you know, 13 and 14-year-olds and they just drop out and they end up going back to the other sports. And, you know, they think that they have to be like the better younger ones. And they probably don't fully realize that, you know, all the men and, you know, girls that are playing, and men and girls, men and women, you know, there's plenty of men out there that are 25 handicappers turning up every Saturday, you know, and shooting 27 points, and no one gives a tinkers.
That'll happen with most sports anyway. You get others that just aren't at a certain level, and they might drop out of that sport. And there's some that, you know, there's plenty of other sports that if you're not at a certain level, that you don't kind of have the same enjoyment. And then it's up to clubs, the parents and other people around them to be encouraging of those ones to say, it doesn't matter if you're not like that one. That's potentially something to strive for. And it's like you put it in the context of that kid's been playing for 5 years and practices every day. So if you want to practice every day, do that. It's very simple, right? And that's it. You know, call it. It's not really being brutal. It's just being honest. It's like he's had lessons got lessons from a young age and did this and did that. If that's what you want to do, then do that. If that's what you want to, if you want to become better, like just do that. It's very simple. And
there's also the benefit of, I don't have kids, but I mean, the benefit of being able to have kids that understand if you're a 20 handicap and you're playing against a junior who's got 10 handicap, yes, they are better golfers than you, but handicaps make it even. That's what it's about. It's about getting out there, and you're going to have your day when you win, and it's not like you're not playing stroke, you're playing Stableford. So you're still going to have your day when you can win, and that's what it's all about. I played 9 holes the other night at about 5 o'clock. I joined up with a lady on the third hole. We got chatting away. She's 45 handicapper. Great. She wanted to tee off the back tees. I don't care. I wasn't even going off the back tees. I was going off the daily tees. So off the back tees, and she was great. I couldn't care what we're shooting. Like we weren't competing. We were just having a bit of fun and a hit. And that's the best part of golf. You can play with anybody. It's not like if you're playing elite footy, you're not playing in the same league as different players. On a golf course, everyone's equal. Doesn't matter. Everyone can have a handicap. You can just go and have a hit.
Everyone was a 27 handicapper at one point.
Yeah.
Right. Just before we move on to the next question, shout out to Ewan Porter. Ewan is talking of elite golf, and developing Australia's future talent. Ewan's put a great program together, the Junior Sixes program, supported by Adidas Golf. Adidas Golf Apparel. It's a great program. So he's putting together an Australian tour. The kids that are part of that, get to travel around the country and play in these events that he puts on, and they're very well run, very well structured, and it's giving this future of Australian golf a bit of a taste of what it's like to play competitively, schedule your life around your tournaments and, perform at the highest level. So shout out to you, and he does a good job with that. But you mentioned playing with a lady that you just paired up with the other day. Just a shout out to Jess from Australian Women's Golf Network. I had the pleasure of hanging out with a group of Jess's network at Peninsula Kingswood on Monday. The network is a group of women that got together for using golf as the vehicle to network and to get together and play. There's some coaching, some lunching, some playing, and all different levels of golfers there. I was there just hanging around, taking some photos and doing some video for Jess, and it was just great to see so many smiling faces out there on the golf course. And some of the women hadn't actually ever played golf before, but they got out there and had a go, and it was fantastic. So shout out to Jess from Australian Women's Golf Network. You can link in with Jessica Eden on LinkedIn. If you are a woman that listens to this, or you have a partner that wants to join that group, she puts great high quality networking events on using golf as a vehicle. So shout out to Jess. What else? Let's get into the more funny ones. Ginger Ninja, Daniel Crawford. He said in regard to the t-shirt, he doesn't want a t-shirt. He just wants me to send the stickers that I promised him 6 months ago. So Daniel, stickers are in the mail. What else? Golfer's Journey up there in Gympie. He wants a t-shirt because he's special. Yes, he's a very special man. He hopefully is going to Scotland this year. By the way, got the notification the other day, Mike. Partially successful in the ballot. I don't know what that means yet. I've got seven days to decide on if I'm going. But,
which days do they give you?
I haven't checked that. I haven't actually checked, but partially successful. What else? Okay. Question here for you from DH Wood 35, Mike. I believe you might know. He asks, why am I a better putter than Magic Mike?
DH Wood is Dale Wood. I actually don't know whether he's a better putter than me because and this is an honest story, normally he's a lefty for starters, and he's normally thrown his club into the bushes before he even gets to the green. So I can't remember the last time he putted. He's a notorious. He's just a lunatic. He's
okay.
Helicopter.
The silver bird is quite flying. Last time he played, it was at Werribee Park, and I think he threw more clubs than he had played holes.
Okay. We'll move on to the next one from another fellow that might be one of the great men of golf. Can you guess who this one might be from, Mike?
No, I got no idea.
Okay, we'll go with Scotty McGregor. This one, there's got two questions from Scotty McGregor.
Yes.
He just wants to know very simply, what course will Magic Mike rip up next?
Well, I'm playing with Scott next Saturday at Yarra Bend. So, and I think I'm doing the pairings. So I might put myself in Scott's group and I'll hopefully rip it up and he won't.
Shout out to Scotty McGregor. Wants to come down and play the PK North course with you, me, and Maybe Shura or someone else like that.
Yeah, I haven't played the North. I played the South that day, didn't we?
Yep, we did.
Yep.
Well, I was reminded the other day I hit the shortest 5-wood in history in front of a US Open champion. Someone reminded me of that fact the other day. I did. Scotty McGregor also asked, how's Magic Mike's new swing coming along? I hear it's scratch golfer stuff.
Yes. Look, I've done a lot of work, as we know, as we talked about over the last month or two, or a few months. It's actually pretty good. I looked at a video of my swing when I started with Baden in April, May, and I looked at a video of my swing from the other week, and it is poles apart, miles and miles apart. And I'm hitting a very different shape on the ball because I'm getting my body into a very different position than before. It's a little bit exciting. It's a bit good. I think there could be the handicap could be going back down quickly. Which is good.
Shape before and shape now is what?
Shape before was always a cut. It was either a dead straight ball or a cut. That was it. I couldn't hit anything else because I just went straight over the top of it. And now it's pretty much a tight draw when I hit it nicely, and that's it. And there was a shot that I hit the other week where I had to hit this high, almost hooking draw into a back left pin, and I hit it, and I was like, who hit that? Was that me? I didn't.
One of those ones where you hit it and it just looks magic in the air, and you're just going.
You make contact and you go, yep, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Haven't even finished your follow through, and you're like, yeah, I'm just tapping my divot, the ball's in the air. You just know.
Yep. So
Mike,
it's going okay.
Mike, you did actually hit a pretty consistent sort of straight to a left to right, and if Baden's got you hitting baby draws,
yep.
Baden Schaffer's his coach's name. You can hit him up on the skillets because that's a significant change. Your fades are weren't as big as Chihan's down at Barnbougle.
No, she's hit a few big, dirty, big right misses.
If you want to see what we're talking about, you can jump onto the YouTube channel, look at the little 2-minute, 5-minute video that we made about Barnbougle. There's one part there where he gets a little bit of extended coverage, does Chihan, and we've all played our drives, and he lines up for his drive, and it looks like he's pointing back to mainland Australia.
It's a 10. I reckon it was 10 at Lost Farm, and you've got to go. It's the par 5 that goes around to the left, and I reckon he's firing over the corner, but where he's aiming, he's got a 300-meter clearance, I reckon, before he gets back to fairway. It's a very funny shot, that video.
Unfortunately,
he was playing for the fade, was he?
Well, I hope so, because he wasn't targeted anywhere near where he should have been.
The fact is that Cheese does legitimately hit at 300.
Cheese had a poor week that week, but he's actually not a bad golfer. His handicap's floated between probably 12 or 13 and 20 for as long as I've known him. But he's drifted out a little bit. He just hasn't played as much as he could. Except two little girls now, so no chance.
It's 150 that way and then 150 back that way.
Also true.
Oh dear. Rocket, there's a question for you here. Funny, well, we're getting obviously to the end. We're an hour and 80. I can't believe we've been talking for an hour already. How's your lawn coming along? Did it get a spring reno? And is there anything you need to tell us? No, I put that part in at the end, but Ben does want to know how's the lawn coming along, and did it get a spring reno?
The lawn was doing all right. I dropped the blade, so it was looking mighty tight, and then the rains in the last week have been very good, but I missed a couple of good days where it was dry, so I'm gonna have to almost like start again. And didn't really do a spring reno. No need.
Okay. Nothing you want to tell us? Okay, the lawn's still looking good.
Oh, might as well. Everyone else knows. I'm relocating north.
This is breaking. No, this is...
No one else knows. Oh, well, we'll
keep it between us.
Yeah, just keep it inside this podcast. But yeah, January moving to Queensland.
Okay, there we go. Someone will. I just hope someone worthy is taking over the Rocket lawn. Maybe you can leave it.
No. Although I'm pretty excited about the prospects that I have on the small patch that I have up there. I've been keeping a good eye on it. Got a guy sort of keeping it under good controlled conditions at the moment. So once we get settled in, then it'll be a new adventure.
Okay, very good. We'll that'll give us something to talk to as the journey unfolds. Well done to you and the rest of the Rocketdom out there in eastern hill suburbs of Melbourne. What else we got? This is one from a fellow Tasmanian to the unofficial ambassador for Tasmania on the mainland. That's you, Mike. A fellow Tasmanian is Will from Craft Golf.
Yes.
Big supporter of the podcast. Thanks, Will. Hope he's going. If you want some no laying up gets a fair mention on this podcast by you, Mike. If you want some no laying up merchandise, you can't get it at Drummer Golf, but you can get it off Craft Golf. He's the official ambassador for no laying up apparel in Australia. So you can go to Craft Golf and get
So the actual Tasmanian has been bypassed in this whole question. So it's like the shortbreads. Well, what's going on here? I'm being cut out of all sorts of things.
We haven't heard the question yet. It is the questions from Will from Craft Golf. No laying up. Who else does he do?
It's Flyers Club.
Flyers Club. He's now the unofficial, the official Australian ambassador for.
Yep.
Hang on, there's questions.
I've told him to get on to Christian Hafer because was talking to him a couple of weeks ago because he had some new t-shirts and stuff coming up for the burning cart stuff, and he can't send them to Australia. He needs someone out here to look after it. I said, "This is your man. Get on to him."
Remember when we were in Barnburger, we were sitting there going, "Who's Craft Golf? Why is he?" we found out. We know it's Will. I knew Will. Will was an ex-Drummond. He learned everything he knew about golf at Drummond. There we go. Magic Mike deserves no laying up points for every time he mentions it. So I'm trying to get you a free hoodie there from Will. But Will was asking, sorry, I've lost my place here.
I can just say no laying up, no laying up, no laying up, no laying up, no
Yeah,
laying up,
that's-
no laying
that's,
up, no laying up. Can I get a jumper, please?
Thank you. New versus old. Does this equal performance expectation versus fun and expectation? So, does using the new driver equipment mean that golf is fun? Does the performance expectation is high, but is the fun factor high versus using the old equipment where the performance might not be high, but is it more fun?
I'll go first. And look, for me, fun, like the most fun I have is nothing better for me than nice balmy night out on the golf course, even if it's the local goat track near my house, half set, I'm a speaker hanging off my bag playing some 90s hip hop, and I'm just wandering around aimlessly dropping normally fluorescent yellow golf balls because that way people know they're not theirs. Don't pick them up and go the other direction with them. I'm not really fussed whether I'm playing the older, the old 5-wood I talked about before and the Apex Hogans that I've got or something like that. Sometimes I'll grab those. Sometimes I'll grab the new colorways. The clubs aren't really the part that I'm more getting the enjoyment out of. Like sometimes I love going out with the old ones and just seeing if I can still hit them the same way. But for me, it's more about just getting out there and getting in the sunshine and enjoying the fresh air, especially after the last 18 months. There's nothing better than just being outside and walking the golf course with the Seamus golf bag I got.
I guess we should defer to the reigning champion of the Southerly Buster, Matt Molliker, 12-hole. What was the actual official name? The Rollback Classic.
Rollback Alliance.
The Rollback Alliance Classic. What do you prefer? Do you prefer to roll it back, or do you prefer to hit some hellacious seeds?
For me, it doesn't matter. For me, I just want to be hitting the ball good. Doesn't matter what gear. I just want to, even if I'm not playing great, I want to at least at some point in 9 holes or just be able to compress a couple. Just have it come zinging off the face.
Yep.
Just a couple of darts and just go, that's it. That's all I want.
Comes off like a rubber Nerf ball and you're like, I didn't even feel that hit the club.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. I just need a couple of those.
Yep.
That's the thing that keeps me coming back. Just tinkering around with that stuff, play some weird shots. Yeah, I'm okay with all of that. If I haven't played for a while, I try and sort of be not too serious, but I'm trying to play myself back in. But I just want to be able to just compress those first couple and then go, right, just remember what it feels like and the movements I'm making, and then just build on it from there.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I would have to defer to the new equipment. Yeah, at my age, I'm trying to keep up with the young fellas like I tried to yesterday, and Blakey might have had me by a few meters, but wait for age, as I like the term I like to use for him. You know, he's 12, 13, 15 years younger than me. He's got biceps 2 times the size of me, and I'm happy to be 5-7 meters behind him. But I think I need the new equipment, the new balls to do that. But I do like the old stuff. It is fun, but I'd probably rather play with that. This question.
Actually, one other thing on the new equipment. I reckon it's only just recently, especially and more specifically with the driver, where I've been able to figure out or change my angle of attack to actually get the most out of it. So with the driver, because I've grown up being, you're sweeping it all the time. It's completely different now. Almost feels really weird. It feels like I'm trying to address it as if it's off my toe, like in front of my toe, and then hit it that way. And it took me a while to kind of get the right feeling. And the last time I was hitting some hellacious seeds down at Albert Park Range when we're allowed to, I was getting a few near the back fence.
Yeah, right.
Question for you, Mike, from Ben. This is funny.
I don't know Ben.
No, you don't know Ben. Ben's a South Australian, but works across in Geelong. So comes and goes. More staying here at the moment until he can get let back into South Australia. What's the correct cracker to King Island brie ratio?
Good question. Personally, there are people that'll take a nice thin piece of cheese and balance it up, whereas I'm the person who will put a bigger than normal piece of cheese than you're supposed to, and then get 2 crackers and make a little sandwich and put the whole thing in my gob.
Oh yeah, get the wafer ones.
Yeah,
the wafer ones.
Yep.
You're the really thin wafer ones. I'm going to make them like a little cheeseburger.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I like.
In terms of the cheese, King Island dairy cheese sales. Yes. Where's the ranking? Where's the hierarchy? Is it Camembert, Brie, Blue?
Brie's always the biggest seller. Camembert probably next, just because people like the white old cheeses. But the one we're most famous was probably the Blue, the Roaring 40s Blue. Roaring 40s is the name of the winds that rush across the island. And that's our most famous cheese because it wins all the big awards. Like it wins, best cheese in Australia, a lot.
Do you eat it?
I love it.
Really?
I think it's exceptional. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you don't, I can tell by looking on your face, Ross, you don't eat blue cheese. So Rocket?
No, I don't.
All right.
My pop was probably the biggest blue cheese eater on the planet.
I think a lot of people that have had blue and don't like it have had very full on, very pungent blue. The Roaring 40s is very creamy. And I will tell you, get a little bit, put it on a cracker, and then put just a touch of honey. And I will guarantee you'll eat blue cheese after that. Just a little bit of honey. It just is beautiful.
So that's not cheese sacrilege, by putting a bit of honey or a bit of what's the quince paste or something like that?
No, you can do that. Quince paste with the blue, but with the white mold cheeses.
Does King Island do the quince paste as an accoutrement to the
we
cheese?
Don't make it.
Right?
No, don't make quince paste. Stick to cheese. Yep.
Okay.
So the cheddars, and I know that Ma Rocket was a fan of the smoked cheddar. I think that we make cheddars and then we put them in a smokehouse, properly smoked. So it's not like a fake smoke; it's literally smoked.
Okay.
So it's good stuff. So when we get down there, we'll have plenty of cheese to eat.
Well, maybe King Island, maybe Air Adventure King Island to visit Tasmania, and if you need your internet down there, Rocket can hook us up with the internet, safe internet. And I'll supply the golf balls from Drummer Golf.
We'll need golf balls.
Definitely golf balls. Okay, I think that's about covers the questions and the frivolities. I bet those whippersnappers were out there. Yeah, okay, yep, very good. There's some more questions that have just come in. They keep coming, but we might leave them until next time. Anything in the US happening that we need to talk about? I think we've bagged.
Last week, Victor went back-to-back in Mexico, which was, look, to be honest, I won't lie, he ranked in the model that I built, he ranked 4th. And I would never have bet him because I have a rule that if you win last week or you won the tournament last year, I don't like betting on you because it very rarely does anyone win back-to-back. But he did, so good luck to him. He was a runaway winner in the end. He was clearly best person there. I thought Matt Wolf was going to probably go very close for a long time. And this week they were in Houston. So this week Brooks is there, Tony Finau's there, Jay Day's
Brooks
back.
has to be there because he was the advisor with Tom Doak on the
Correct. And guess who else got it? I know you'd be very surprised about this, Rocket. If Brooks is there and he's getting any sort of chance to do what he likes, who would he have brought to play? Who else would he have got a game this
Chase.
week? Young Chase is in this week. So
what's Chase is playing? Jeez.
So
actually, I was listening to, I think it was Shotgun Start. They reckon Brooks is going to have to play a lot of. The reason he's been playing a lot of these events because he hasn't played enough. So his points carry over for OWGR.
Yeah.
He potentially could drop out of the top 50 if he just decides to not play between now and February.
Wow. Well, to be honest, he's top on all the stats that I've looked at. He finishes on top this week. So I'll put a few small bets on him. There's a few others. I'll just send them over again, and Roscoe, you can put them up if you want. There's a million different people you can bet on every week, as usual. The main ones that I went with, I can't remember who they were, to be honest, but Brooks was one of them. Actually, Cam Davis might go okay this week. He was one of the other ones that I didn't mind.
I'll tell you because I loaded up on all of them.
Did you? Brooks, Matty Wolf, Taylor Gooch,
Aaron
Wise, and Cam Davis.
Yeah. I actually threw Ian Poulter in there for giggles as well. Houston. He's a former Houston Open champion.
Well, Aussies go well here. The course, I've got some friends that are connected to a few caddies, and they've said the course is you need to be hitting it long, and this week it's running very hard and bouncy. So probably sets up well for Aussies.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So you'll send across some tips. You can put them out, and then nothing. I think that's about it. Is that about us?
Yeah.
Rocket, anything else from you, mate?
No, there's no other
rabbit holes, reviews, any?
No other blood money news or anything like that. Oh, the only other thing is the episode 4 of Tourist Source season 7 came out today.
Yep.
Looking forward to that one. Last one was fantastic.
It's the Loop. They're at the Loop.
Oh, are they?
Yep. I just watched it. Just watched it today.
I've listened to every podcast when Tom Doak has talked about the Loop.
Well, it's a good episode. I know we like talking about no laying up on this our own podcast, but I sent
Craft Golf.
Speak to Craft Golf. If you need a follow. No, I sent Matty Molliker a message tonight, and I said, I love the no laying up guys, and I love it when they play hard and fast greens because I don't know why, but people from other countries just don't know how to play hard and fast greens.
They've got no idea.
And it's awesome. I love it.
They've got no idea.
So you'll enjoy it. Tron has a good day.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
Well, very good. I think we might cut it there at an hour and 20 something. Oh, sorry, go on, Mike. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, anyone who's watching that is probably wondering why we haven't mentioned the fact that I've got a massive shiner.
Oh, really? Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You hadn't noticed it. Yeah. No, I had as we talked about with the men's health the other week, I had something checked out in the corner of my eye, a little growth that was cut out. So it was very rough when he cut it out. So it wasn't my wife, as most people at work have asked me, and it wasn't my customer who hit me. It is literally just remnants of small surgery on Monday. You
didn't get overexcited back down at the Ascot Vale Inn or anything like that? No.
I've been. It had more than a shiner.
Front bar at the Union Hotel, yeah.
But again, and actually, who was it? Young Josh from Melbourne City, who's the team sort of assistant manager down there at Melbourne City. He actually sent me a message this morning going, just catching up on the podcast. Glad to hear that you're okay. Thank you, Josh, for that. But as you point out, Mike, anything, even if it's a little sunspot, any spot, it could be, it couldn't be. Go and get it checked out. And if you need to get it nicked off like Mike has there, and he showed us the picture earlier on where the bruising was just at one eye, one part of the eye. Now it's obviously seeped down and makes it look like he's been, clocked by something or someone. But just get it checked out. Josh, thank you for your note, and good luck to all my friends from Melbourne City who are playing in the FFA Cup tomorrow night down at Bob Jane Arena against South Melbourne Hellas. I've got my Melbourne City hat on, and I'm not sure it's probably finished by now, but there's probably a couple of Melbourne City boys figuring in the Socceroos tonight. Jamie McLaren and Andrew Naboot, both part of the Melbourne City Golf Group. Good fellas, know them both. Good luck to you guys playing and representing the country up there in Sydney against, funnily enough, Saudi Arabia. What a way to finish on Saudi. We started on Saudi and we finished on Saudi. Didn't know we were going to do that, but we have. Anyway, thanks for listening. Get some King Island dairy cheese. Get into Air Adventure to book your travel. Get into Drum and Golf to buy a new putter. I'll see you soon, Mike. See you soon, Rocket. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.